And we begin with the incoming visit of the Amir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, who is on a two-day visit to India. The visit is aimed at strengthening growing partnership between the two nations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Middle East outreach has marked a significant transformation in India's foreign policy, characterized by proactive engagement, strategic partnerships and diversified cooperation. And this is a big move in that step. Our next report by Jessica Taneja brings you more. Prime Minister Narendra Modi breaking protocol to personally receive the Amir of Qatar as he touched down in New Delhi for his state visit. The warm gesture by the Indian Prime Minister highlighted the growing ties between New Delhi and Doha. The high-profile visit of Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani highlights the strengthening ties between India and Qatar, two nations bound by history, trade and diplomacy. On the second day of his two-day visit, the Amir of Qatar, Tamim, received the Guard of Honor and a ceremonial welcome in the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan on Tuesday. He was received by President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with senior ministers from the government.
His Highness the Amir of Qatar is accompanied by a high-level delegation comprising ministers, senior officials and business leaders. The dignitaries who are accompanying His Highness include Qatar's Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, as well as the Ministers of Commerce and Industry, Energy, Electronics and Information Technology, Labour, and the Minister of State for Foreign Trade.
Prime Minister Modi held a bilateral meeting with the Emir at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. India and Qatar elevated their ties to strategic partnership as the two sides signed MOU, including on double tax avoidance and prevention of fiscal evasions with respect to taxes on income. With bilateral trade surpassing $14 billion in 2023-24, Qatar remains India's largest supplier of liquid natural gas, fueling the country's growing energy needs. In return, India exports a range of goods from food and textiles to engineering products. This visit is expected to pave the way for new agreements, deepening this economic partnership.
The partnership, which rests on the foundation of trust, trade, and tradition. We have a very strong historical legacy, starting right from the old times when we had the Silk Route. But today, we live in a new world, a new age, where we are rewriting the terms of trade. We are rewriting the way business will be conducted. In fact, we are creating new Silk Age routes, whether it's the IMEC, whether it's the newer technologies that we are engaged with.
Qatar's Minister of State for Foreign Trade Affairs, Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al Saeed, highlighted the strong partnership between India and Qatar during Amir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani's visit. He emphasized collaboration in trade, technology and investment, particularly in non-oil sectors, to strengthen bilateral ties.
The world today is changing dramatically in terms of trade and business, the apply of technology and AI. Qatar also enhancing the landscape of attractiveness of investment. We are welcoming Indian business people. We are encouraging our business society, government and public sector to invest more in India and to create more partnership.
But beyond trade, defense and security cooperation, the two nations share intelligence on counterterrorism, and India regularly participates in Qatar's maritime defense exhibitions. Recent agreements have bolstered cooperation in cybersecurity, port management, and skill development. Another key pillar of this relationship is the Indian diaspora. Over 800,000 Indians live and work in Qatar, contributing to its development. Their welfare remains a priority in bilateral talks. Jessica Taneja's report for DD India. Well, India's ties with West Asia have undergone a historic transformation under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, and from economic partnerships to cultural diplomacy, India has reinvigorated its relationship with the region like never before. And the latest visit of Qatar's Amir is yet another testament to this deepening engagement or a relationship. Our next report tells you more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi breaking protocol to personally receive the Emir of Qatar as he touched down in Delhi for his state visit. The warm gesture by the Indian Prime Minister highlighted the importance given by the country to the region and the growing ties between New Delhi and West Asia. Earlier in December, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited Kuwait, becoming the first Indian Prime Minister to visit the Gulf nation in over 40 years. Since 2014, several such steps have been taken by the Indian government to foster closer ties between the two regions. Over a decade, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited several countries in the Gulf region, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran, UAE, Jordan, and others, cementing historic ties between the two regions. For decades, West Asia has been central to India's strategic and economic interests, but under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, these ties have deepened like never before. Trade, energy security, infrastructure, and cultural diplomacy. India's outreach has been multifaceted. India's trade with Gulf region now stands at a staggering $160 to $180 billion annually, with over 9 million Indians living and working in these nations. The Gulf also acts as a gateway to the larger Middle East and North African and Mediterranean region, where India's trade is another $80 billion.
Prime Minister Modi has made great personal efforts for transforming India's relationship with all the countries of the Middle East region, and especially with the Gulf states. And this has happened steadily ever since he became Prime Minister of India in 2014. The relationships with all the Gulf countries were focused mainly on energy, trade, and the Indian expatriates. But now the relationship has evolved into a new framework encompassing political relations, investment, and defense and security cooperation.
A game changer in this partnership is the India-Middle East Economic Corridor, a massive infrastructure project connecting India to the Gulf and further to Europe. Announced on the sidelines of India's G20 presidency, the corridor is expected to revolutionize trade and connectivity.
Over the last decade, we've had a series of high-level visits between India and the Middle East countries, including the GCC. We've also seen a renewed focus from the GCC on India, mainly because of the economic opportunities that India offers, and at the same time, the interest that India has shown in reaching out to the GCC. I feel that, going forward, the GCC and the Middle East countries will be interested in the new age economy in India, investing in that and making sure that they can tap into India's potential.
Beyond economics, PM Modi also strengthened cultural and people-to-people ties. On February 14, 2024, he inaugurated the first Hindu temple in the region, the Baps Temple in Abu Dhabi, symbolizing a new chapter in cultural harmony between India and the UAE. Diplomatically, India's engagement with the Gulf Cooperation Council has surged, with bilateral trade touching $161 billion in fiscal year 2023 and 2024. The region is now a major investment partner, especially Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which have pledged billions in infrastructure and energy projects in India. As both regions evolve, India's Middle East strategy under PM Modi has laid a strong foundation for enduring and mutually beneficial relations. With key partnerships strengthening, the future looks promising for India's engagement with the region. With deepening economic ties and strategic collaborations, India's presence in the Middle East is stronger than ever. The foundation laid today will shape a future of mutual prosperity and cooperation. From New Delhi, Akshay Dongre, DD India.